People are always speaking to you, even when they say nothing at all. A glance that lingers too long, a pause before an answer, a forced smile stretched just a little too tight. It's a language most never learn to read. You don't need superpowers to understand it. You just need to notice the tension, because the truth always shows up there first, hiding in plain sight. That's where Nietzsche comes in. He didn't offer cheap tricks or pop psychology hacks. He handed us a way to truly see people, the raw, sometimes uncomfortable truths that live beneath their words, their silences, and their masks. This isn't about manipulation. It's about connection. It's about finally understanding what someone's really saying, even when they can't say it out loud. Because whether you're talking to a friend, a stranger, or someone you're not sure you can trust, you can feel when their words and their soul don't match. And once you learn this lens, you won't just read others better. You'll see yourself more clearly than ever before. It's like switching on a light in a room you didn't realize was dark. Suddenly, every expression, every hesitation, every quiet moment becomes a clue. Today, we're exploring 6 psychological truths, distilled from Nietzsche's sharpest insights, that strip away the polished personas people wear. Truths that reveal tension, fear, and hidden patterns shaping everything we do. If you've ever wished you could cut through the noise and finally understand what's happening beneath someone's words, you're in the right place. Let's start at the surface and dig deeper, because the closer you look, the more the masks start to fall. And what you discover might just change how you see everyone, including yourself. Truth 1. The tension always tells the truth. People rehearse words, they practice smiles. But tension? That's raw, unfiltered honesty leaking through. Watch for it, the sudden break in eye contact, the pause just a heartbeat too long, the tone that shifts when a question hits too close. These aren't glitches in conversation. They're the body scrambling to hide discomfort before the brain catches up. Nietzsche believed that reading someone doesn't start with catching lies. It starts the moment they get uncomfortable. That's when the carefully built persona slips. It's when you glimpse the person behind the polished mask. You don't need to interrogate anyone. Just watch the tension. A nervous laugh, a fidgeted hand, even a tiny shift in posture. It's the truth peeking out from where words can't cover it. And once you notice it, you can never unsee it. Truth 2. What someone hates reveals what they hide. We've all heard it before. Someone can't stop calling others fake, lazy, arrogant. But here's the twist. Those judgments often say more about them than anyone else. Nietzsche understood projection long before psychology gave it a name. The louder someone attacks a trait in others, the more likely they're wrestling with it themselves. It's like holding up a mirror you don't want to look into. When someone explodes at someone's ambition, maybe it's because their own dreams faded long ago. When they ridicule kindness, maybe they fear their own softness being exposed. Sometimes the cruelest words we speak about others are just echoes of what we secretly say to ourselves every night. The judgment is rarely about the target. It's about hiding something fragile inside. When someone cannot stop tearing into others, what they're really doing is trying to build a wall between themselves and their own reflection. So next time you hear relentless criticism, don't just nod along. Ask yourself, what battle are they fighting with themselves, right there in front of you? Truth 3. Silence speaks louder than answers. Ask a real question, the kind that cuts close to the heart, and watch how people dodge it. A shrug, a quick laugh, a perfectly safe answer rehearsed in the mirror. That's not nothing. That's fear dressed up as casual conversation. Nietzsche believed speech often distorts more than it reveals. If you want to read someone, stop chasing the clever response and listen to what they don't say. Notice the hesitation before they speak, the way their voice thins when a topic gets close to pain, the sudden shift of eyes to the floor. Silence is rarely empty. It's packed with the weight of everything they can't bring themselves to say out loud. Sometimes the truth sits right there in the pause between words, heavy as a stone. Learn to read those quiet moments. They're not gaps in conversation. They're confessions waiting for someone brave enough to hear them. Truth 4. Where someone acts superior, they usually feel inferior. We've all met the person who casually drops their accomplishments every 5 minutes, who needs you to know just how well they're doing. At first glance, it looks like confidence. But Nietzsche saw something different, a shield. People wear superiority like armor because deep down, they're terrified of being seen as less. It's not arrogance, it's protection. They've built a castle out of achievements and status to hide the wound underneath. Every name drop, every boastful story, every humble brag. It's like they're stacking Lego blocks of self-importance, hoping no one notices the cracks underneath. And here's the thing, real confidence doesn't need to broadcast itself. The person at peace with who they are doesn't need to convince you. So when someone tries too hard to prove their worth, remember, you're not seeing pride. You're seeing fear dressed as a crown. And once you know that, you stop being impressed by the noise and start seeing the human underneath. Truth 5. Most behavior is driven by unconscious fear. Why do people explain? Why do they leave your message on read for days while posting memes online without reason? Why do they lash out over the smallest things or stay silent when their heart is screaming to speak? Fear. Always fear. Nietzsche didn't believe people are purely rational. He believed that behind every action, there's a quiet terror of losing something: love, safety, approval, a sense of self. We act not to reach happiness, but to dodge pain. And once you see this, the chaos of human behavior suddenly makes sense. The person who avoids commitment isn't cold. They're terrified of being hurt again. The one who explodes in anger isn't strong. They're scared of being powerless. The friend who never says what they truly feel. They're afraid honesty will cost them connection. Fear drives us more than reason ever will. And if reason had a steering wheel, fear's the one grabbing it from the passenger seat. And if you want to truly read someone, don't just ask what they're doing. Ask what they're afraid will happen if they stop pretending, if they tell the truth, if they let go of control. Fear is the invisible hand pulling the strings of most human actions. Truth 6. Patterns are confessions. Not everyone can name their trauma, but everyone shows you pieces of it. It slips out in how they leave messages on read, how they vanish when things get too real, how they laugh at pain like it's a joke. Every pattern is like a trail of breadcrumbs leading back to something they can't yet say out loud. Nietzsche believed behavior is biography. Every repeated habit, every emotional loop, every strange reaction is a map of where they've been hurt. If you pay attention, you'll see the same story playing out over and over, even when they swear they're fine. Some people push you away the moment you get close, not because they're cold, but because they're bracing for abandonment. Others turn every serious moment into a joke. They've learned humor hurts less than honesty. And then there are those who cling too tightly, terrified that love could vanish overnight. Different patterns, same story, pain written in action instead of words. These aren't quirks. They're messages written in action instead of words. And when you can read them, you stop personalizing people's behavior. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start understanding what's broken inside them. That shift changes everything. Not just how you see others, but how much compassion you can offer without losing yourself. So take a breath and think back on these truths. You've seen them before, in others and in yourself, because Nietzsche didn't write these ideas to make us suspicious of people. He wrote them to wake us up. Behind every mask is a scared, tired, hopeful soul just trying to make it through the day. The gift of reading people isn't about control. It's about recognition. It's about finally seeing someone so clearly that they don't feel invisible anymore. And maybe that's the real power here. Not to read people to win, but to read them to understand. To meet their fears with grace instead of judgment. To listen past the noise and notice what their heart has been trying to say all along. The ability to read people isn't about power. It's about kindness. Use it well, and you'll never look at a conversation the same way again. And if wisdom speaks to you, it usually finds and clicks the subscribe button. See you in the next one, where wisdom keeps speaking.